Broad is the way that leads to perdition, and narrow is the way that leads to eternal life. What does this tell us? Anytime you see, and whatever you see the majority of people doing, believe me, it is wrong. It does not lead to anything positive. There is what is called the herd mentality or the group mentality. When you see everybody running in a particular way, when people just hear, oh, somebody shouting like this, you see everybody rushing in the particular direction, and everybody and you too, you just join them. Whenever you find yourself that you are doing what everybody else is doing, know that you're on the wrong path. But the path that leads to life, that leads to success, that leads to financial freedom, it's very narrow. It is not everybody that is on that path, and it is not everybody that can be there. A lot of us look at rich people, successful people, and we envy them. You say, oh, I wish I'm the one flying that private jet. I wish I'm the one having this much money. I wish I'm the one. Believe me, if the roles were reversed, if they put you in that person's situation and give you everything that person has, the way you are, you will destroy yourself or end up even poorer more than where you were starting out from. Because if you have not learned and understand the rules, you cannot play the game properly. You know, because all the time you find out that people that are maybe not successful or poor, they have a sort of animosity against the rich and successful because probably they feel that their problem, they are the reason why they are poor or that they are not successful. But no, the reason why you are poor and unsuccessful is simply because of you. It is not a function or circumstance of your birth. It is not the fact that you are in Nigeria or you are in any other country that is tagged as a third world country. It is not a function of the level of your education or enlightenment. No, it is solely your responsibility. And we've talked about this. So they always look at them as if they are their problem. So when somebody, when a billionaire buys a new yacht for himself, or maybe buy a new island or something, they will be crying and saying, oh, what the thing can do for the poor? How many people that are suffering that I could have given that thing to? First and foremost, if you are following these rules, this lesson that we're talking about, you will not think like that because you will understand that nobody owes you anything and you know. So it has also now been said that, so let us even assume that we want to go by what those people are saying, the people in the bigger quadrant, in quadrant B, and say, okay, all the money in the world that everybody have now, yeah, gather everything together. Let us distribute it evenly among everybody in the world today, the 8 billion people, in a very short while. And believe me, it cannot be more than 10 years. That money will end up back in the pockets of the people that had it before. And that's the reality. And this is the mistake we make. Believe me, if you think on that statement properly, you'll find out that it is the truth. That money will end up in the pocket of those people that had it before. And those that do not have will end up still not having. Because believe me, your problem is not money. Your problem is actually your mindset. Your problem is that you do not understand the rules of the game of life. If you understand the rule of the game of life and you play it accordingly, properly, success is the inevitable result. Wealth, riches, money is the inevitable result. There is not a lack of money. There is always a lack of people that are ready and willing and interested to get it. Because the money in this world is unlimited. The much you can see, you will get. And the reality is that you cannot have beyond what you see in your mind. So learn to live not on the broad path, but on the narrow path. You must develop what is called the minority mindset. You don't think like everybody else. There's one of Olamide's song. Olamide is one of my favorite Nigerian artists, you know. And there's one of his songs, in fact, it's not one of his most popular songs. The title of the song is called Millie. It was a letter to his son. And there was something he said in that place. He said, "Ma lo think be everybody, ko ma lo da be everybody." I'll interpret. He said, do not think and reason like everybody. Otherwise, you will end up becoming like everybody else. That captures what we're talking about with the minority mindset. Anybody that have an impact in their life do not think like everybody else. They do not think like the crowd. They do not walk on the broad path. They choose the narrow path. They have the minority mindset. They do not reason like everybody else. They do not go where everybody else is going. They do not plan and think the way everybody else is planning and thinking. They maintain their minority mindset because it is the minority mindset that will sustain you on the narrow path that leads to success and eternal life. The next lesson, and I think I'll be ending it with this, is that failure is not the opposite of success. Listen to that again. Failure is not the opposite of success. If you understand this, in fact, if you understand what this means, you'll be looking for failure all around you. Because you are not failing. There's no failure in life. The only failure in life is when you give up. So this is how it works. Failure is not the opposite of success. But failure is the stuff with which success is built. So when you turn success inside out, the inside of it is failure. So when you turn that failure out, what you find is success. The example that I can give us is stripe. Is a part of the meat, the intestine. We call it stripe, you know, the inside of it. So the inside of it is failure. But when you turn that failure, when you turn it, it's success that you find. So it is not the opposite of success. It is a part of success. In fact, it is what leads to success. The reality is that you cannot, and mark my word, you cannot have success without failure. And you want to be successful, so show me your failures. You don't have failures, and you think you will have success. Life does not work that way. It is an impossibility, because the reality is that failure is how you grow. That failure is how you learn. That failure is your lesson. So let's take school, for example. School will tell you that when you fail, it's a bad thing. So you don't want to fail. Because when you fail, they will tell you that you are not graduating. You are failed. You are a failure. You don't know this thing. That's why you fail. Have you realized that statistically, a lot of the people in the Western world that became successful, men that are renowned today, drop out of school? In fact, I heard that in Silicon Valley, it almost like became a norm that if you have not dropped out of school, you cannot be successful. So dropping out of school from an educational perspective is failing. You cannot study, so you have failed. But by the time you have that supposed failure, that is actually what leads to your success. And then you find out that a lot of the people that end up having first class, having top grades, and all of that, go and search and look at it. A lot of them end up working for those people that finish with third class and pass and lower grades. School will tell you that when you fail, something is wrong with you. You have failed. Something is wrong. It's not the right way. But the reality is that in life, when you fail, that is when you actually pass. Let me create a scenario for you. Someone that wants to decide and say, I want to go into this venture. I've learned some of this lesson. I don't want to be trading my time for money. Let me do business. And then you start this business. And then, oh, you are roughing it. You've learned, oh, just do it, just start. And then you now start the business. But as you start the business, all of a sudden, after some time, you are happy, you are excited, but something just happened. It could be human error. It could be anything. Let's take that maybe the business was like a poultry business. Or let us say is a farming business. And then all of your bird died. You lost everything. That is failure, right? In quotes. And do you know what a lot of us we do is that at that point, we'll be pained, we'll start crying, dejected, and we will do what? Give up. But do you know the reality is that at that time when that happened is actually the time when you were meant to continue, where you are meant to continue, because you just pass from 100 level to 200 level in the game of life. You just finish your introduction to business 001 or 101 and you lost everything, so you have been promoted to the next class, which is 200 and 201, which are supposed to go to the next class. But unfortunately, what most of us now do at that point is you drop out and you lose it. And that is actually when you fail, because you do not fail unless and until you give up. But if you do not give up, yes, it will be tough, but you keep at it. And that is why I always say, when you cannot fly, run. When you cannot run, walk. When you cannot still walk, crawl. Just don't give up. When you have to cry, cry. When you have to take a break, take a break. Just don't give up. Whatever you have to do, yes, it's going to be tough. And believe me, the reason why there are many people on the left quadrant, like we say, is that it's a much more easier life. The narrow path is tougher, is harder, because it will take discipline from you, because it will take toil from you, because it will take dedication from you, because it will take you motivating yourself. It will take losses. It will take battle. It will take fights. You can win. And you will win if you don't give up. Failure is never the opposite of success, but it is the stuff with which success is built. Abraham Lincoln said, no, before we even go to Abraham Lincoln, let's go to Thomas Edison. He said, I have not failed 1,000 times. After he had done experiment over experiment in finding the light bulb, he said, I have only found 1,000 ways that will not work. So he has never failed in those instances. It did not fail. So embrace failure. Don't shy away from it. Learn the lesson you are supposed to learn on your journey. Remember, if you don't give up, life will not give up on you. And believe me, like I always say, everything you need is within you. Everything you want is inside of you. Everything that you want to be, that you can be in this life, is all within you. You just need to press yourself. You just need to drive yourself and bring it out. You can if you think you can. Follow me for more. Like, share, and subscribe.